circle.
He always said he enjoyed it, like when he mentioned it.
That's good. There you go. We're going to make a
But he was
nice
like, he said
circle.
the
We're all
part
going
he
to sit
hated
down
was
a
the
real
fact that he had to
circle.
be away from his family.
Good morning, guys.
Alright, here they come.
Good morning.
The crew.
Good morning. Hello. Ernest, scoot as close as you can. Love your neighbor. They're your friends. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I know. Good morning, guys. Come on. You can sit right here. Alright guys, good morning everybody. Good morning. We are so excited to be here. Before we start, we kind of want to introduce ourselves. So my name is Julia.
I'm Brett.
I'm Dalton.
I'm Erin.
I'm Alyssa.
And today we're going to be teaching you some really awesome things, okay? So that song kind of, when we were playing coming in, what movie was that from? Has anybody ever heard that song before in a really special Disney movie?
Lion King 2.
Okay, yeah, The Lion King, right? So that's my favorite movie of all time. I love The Lion King. But what's really important about that song is the chorus of that song. It says something kind of interesting. What's the chorus of the song? It's really loud. It says the circle of life, right? Everybody say circle of life.
Circle of life.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be learning about today. What is the circle of life? And even though we're not out in Africa in the safari, we're going to be learning about the circle of life in your own backyard. Isn't that cool? And how does that work? So, today we're going to start learning about that. And to start with circle of life, if you look over here on the board, we have a blank circle. And today we're going to fill that in and learn every part of it, okay? So the first part is this really important thing right here, guys. What is this?
The sun.
The sun, right. So the sun, where do you see it?
In the sky.
In the sky, like every morning, right? Every morning you wake up, and it goes down, and then at night it looks really cool. It's still there, though, right? It's still there. So what does the sun do for us? Like, what does it provide us?
Light.
Light. Yeah, what else? What else?
Warm.
Heat and warmth. It also does something.
Photosynthesis.
Yes! Photosynthesis. Wow, that's a big, what is photosynthesis?
It's when the sunlight goes into plants and makes food for them.
Yes, that's so right. Good job, good job. So, yes, so the sun is super important to making our next part of the circle. We'll get to in a second. But the sun grows plants, right? So we're going to fill in the first part of our circle of life. What is this? Now, before I can fill this in, I need you guys to give me your best sun impression. Whatever that may look like to you, show me what it looks like to be an awesome sun. Amazing. Do some like UV rays, right? Okay, here we go. We're going to fill it in.
Those were some good.
I'm telling you, no pros. Okay, so now we said photosynthesis. Everybody say photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
It's pretty cool. It's a big word, right? But, so that photosynthesis is going to grow, what is this?
Grass.
Grass, right? So, this is the first kind of like big word of our circle of life. This is called a producer. Everybody say producer.
Producer.
Yeah, so a producer produces its own food by photosynthesis, right? So it only depends on itself. It doesn't need to eat other things. It makes its own food. And so it produces for other things, okay? So we're going to put this on the board, okay? But before I do, you got to show me your best grass impression. What do you think? Nice. I like it. I love it. You guys are like professional grass actors. All right, cool. So we've got the sun, and we got our first producer. So now we're going to talk about the next part. And we're going to have a couple of friends to help us learn about these next parts. So the next part we have is called a consumer. And they have to eat other things to sustain themselves. They don't get to make their own food like plants, okay? So Brett is going to introduce our new friend and teach us about what consumers are.
Hello, everyone. Like Julia said, my name is Brett, and I have our first consumer of the Circle of Life. Now, you might go out in your backyard and do your own safari. You might I see a lot of cool, tiny little critters crawling around on the grass. Do any of you see any of those cool animals?
Chipmunks.
You see chipmunks? That's pretty cool. I'm talking about smaller.
Ants.
Ants. So what kind of animals are ants?
Insects.
They are insects. And right here in my bag, I have a cool insect. He's one of my best friends. His name is Ferris. And you won't actually see him in your backyard. He's not native to Georgia. Do any of you know what native and non-native mean?
They live
They're
there.
from here or not from here.
Yes, native means that they are located here. You can see them in your own backyard. And non-native means that they're from somewhere else. Now, my friend here, he's from Madagascar. He's native to Madagascar. And he's actually pretty big. You might see some of his cousins, some distant relatives in your own backyard, and you might be creeped out by them. Do any of you have any idea what kind of critter I have?
Spider.
Is it a cockroach?
It is a cockroach.
Ew.
Ferris is a Madagascar hissing cockroach. Now, they are. This is an animal that I use for environmental education purposes.
Good answer.
Now, Ferris here is actually pretty cool. He's a Madagascar hissing cockroach. So where do you think you can find him living?
Madagascar.
Madagascar. And what do you think is very special about him?
He hisses.
He hisses. He lives in Madagascar, absolutely.
That's true.
So he hisses. Do any of you know why a cockroach might hiss?
Scare people.
He's mad.
It's not because he's mad. He's actually trying to protect himself. Because he is an insect. He doesn't have any venom. He's not poisonous. He produces noise to be able to intimidate other animals. So can all of you show me your best hiss? Exactly. Ferris. He's able to create that same noise. He has holes on the side of his body. Now, before I bring him any closer, if you do not want to see him or any other animals, I'm going to ask you to please sit on your hands or cross your hands in an X to let me know that you don't want to see him or any other animal. Now, this Madagascar hissing cockroach has spiracles on the side of its body in which it pushes air out, kind of like a whistling or a hissing noise. Now, they are not dangerous whatsoever.
Oh my God.
So what do you think this critter, this insect, likes to eat?
Other cockroaches.
Bugs.
The cockroaches? So you think
Plants.
they eat plants. They might eat grass. They love fruits and veggies. Ferris here, he actually loves to eat strawberries. It's his favorite thing. And I also feed him dried up dog food. I crush it up. He likes it so he can get his protein. And then I also feed him some fruits and vegetables. Now, Ferris, a Madagascar hissing cockroach, not only do they consume other animals, they like to be consumed themselves. Bugs, such as spiders, mosquitoes, dragonflies, and cockroaches, they provide food for other animals. So next up, we have a really cool, little bit bigger animal with us that might eat cockroaches, mosquitoes, worms. So we have our next friend who's going to introduce him. So if all of you will please say goodbye to Ferris, but in his own language. Give me your best hiss.
All right, so our next little critter that you're going to meet is our next component of our circle of life. If y'all will look at the board, see we've moved from our sun to our producer, which is the grass, to our consumer, and now we're going to move to another consumer that consumes this the cockroach that we just saw. What are some animals that you think might consume insects like a cockroach?
A frog.
A snake, a frog, a salamander. Yeah, those are all good answers. So this critter that we have with us today he's a little sensitive. Okay, he's got some sensitive skin. So because of that, we have a really important job that I'm going to need a volunteer to do. So show me by a raise of hands. I'll try to see whose hand goes up first, and I'll get a volunteer. Okay, come on in.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to need you to do, so Ranger Aaron is going to be getting our friend out today, and I'm going to need you to, you're on the right track, grab this spray bottle, and you're going to have to squirt Ranger Aaron's hands until she says to stop.
That's the important part.
That's good.
Okay.
But stay on standby, because whenever, not for me, but whenever she lets you know that she needs, this is Sanford, everybody. Everybody say, hey, Sanford.
Hi, Sanford.
And Sanford is a tiger salamander. And so whenever Ranger Erin needs some more water, you can help her out with that. But so Sanford is like I said, is a tiger salamander, and as Erin is walking Sanford around to you, kind of notice how he smiles a little bit. He's got a little smile. And also notice that he has stripes, and that's that's one of the reasons that he's called a tiger salamander.
Does he roar?
He does not roar, no, unfortunately.
That would be cool.
Because that would be really cool if he did. But he is a very important component to our circle of life, because he is what we call an indicator species.
Sorry, Cole.
And the indicator species tells us what the health of our environment is. So the next time that you're walking through the woods, if you see another tiger salamander, another little critter that looks just like our friend Sanford here, then you can know, and you can tell all your friends that are with you, you can say, this environment is very healthy because Sanford is here. And there has to be a healthy environment around him in order for him to be able to survive. So he is very important and a very important component to that circle of life. But the circle of life does not stop with Sanford. So we have our salamander up here, so there are other animals that actually consume Sanford as well.
And before we put Sanford up, just a little quick tip. If you're out in the woods or out wherever and you see a salamander or you see some stuff like that, they like to live under logs and stuff. So if you link all the logs together while you're outside, it will definitely help them out.
And let's give a big hand to our volunteer real quick. And
Yeah, all right.
and give us the spray. Before everybody.
Souvenir.
I'm insulted.
So we're going to introduce our next critter now.
Okay, y'all, so this time we're gonna stay real quiet, because this one she might get a little scared. So we have a new critter coming out, and her name is Sandy, and she's gonna look a little different, like something you've never seen before.
She looks like Snake to me.
Oh, wow.
Like special attention to her nose. Has anyone ever seen a snake with a nose like this before? Okay.
No.
If we get scared, please sit on your hands so Julia will know not to come by. So there's something special about Sandy. So we've talked about producers and consumers. Can anyone tell me what they think Sandy may be?
A consumer.
Yes, you're very right. So Sandy likes things like mice and rats and frogs. So she comes after the salamander in the food chain because she needs more energy than the salamander does because they eat different things. Would anybody else like to see Sandy?
Yep, so Sandy is really, really neat, and she really, really, really likes to eat amphibians of all kinds, like she said. And what's really cool about her is she has these like little bitty fangs in the back of her mouth. So when she eats things like frogs that are kind of big, like to puff up, like don't eat me, she can like inflate them like a balloon, and then she can feed them. So she's really important to our circle of life and completing our circle of life. So as you look at the board there, you can notice that it kind of completes a circle, right? So how does that snake get back to the sun? Brett, do you want to tell them how that snake gets back to the sun?
So when all animals, such as our snake, they get really, really old, and unfortunately they do die because that's the circle of life, right? So then they will lay on the ground, their body will get absorbed by other animals, mushrooms, fungus, plants, and then they will become the soil. And then they will eventually, that soil, those nutrients, get helped by the sun and will eventually go back to becoming plants because that's where plants grow, right?
Good.
In the soil. Absolutely. So then we have completed our circle of life. Now we have a challenge for you. We have a craft for you that we are going to hand out. We're actually going to split y'all up into groups. You can stay where you're at. I'm going to count y'all off by 5. And once I start over, that will be your group. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y'all are a group together.
Actually, Brett, we're going to have groups of 4 and one group of 5 because we can.
So you are a group of 5.
Okay.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4 is a group.
Good.
1, 2, 3, 4 is a group.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. You are a group working together.
Okay, so person 1 in a group of 4 y'all will get the strip of yellow paper with a sun on it.
If you're one, hold your hand.
1.
You are not a man.
Wait a minute.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's really important.
okay, and also.
Alright guys, let's listen up really close, okay?
Thank you.
I can put salad. Hey, if you can hear me, put your hand on your nose. Good job, guys. Okay, so number 1 is also going to get the piece of grass, the yellow or the
Green.
green piece of grass. Okay, so number 2 is going to get the brown piece of paper with the cockroach. Number 3 is going to get this orange piece of paper with the salamander, and then last but not least, we'll get a red piece of paper with the snake on it. So we're going to make our own food chain today. So we need to start off with who has the sun. Raise your hand if you have the sun. Okay, so everyone should have tape. If you can just give cool. Okay, so you're going to make a circle like this. So you're going to make your own link to your chain. Don't take it together yet. Yes.
If you guys can like circle it into it if you want to.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you first on the sun. The only person that should be linking it together is here you go. The person with the sun. The sun
Good,
should link.
good.
But we need only the first. Okay. So whoever has the green piece of paper, you will then slide it in the person with the yellow link, the sun link. You slide it inside like this.
Whoa.
And then tape it just like, well. And then tape it just like. Yes, go ahead and tape the green one. Make sure you're making the chain. Y'all are doing such a good job. Thank you. Okay, and then next, we'll use the brown piece of paper and we will link it to the, y'all are doing such a good job right now. Okay, next will be the orange piece of paper with the salamander on it. And last, wait, don't do the snake yet. Don't do the snake yet. We need to loop it back to the yellow piece of paper. We're making a circle. I see y'all going ahead of me.
You gotta lose it back to the
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Maybe we should We're gonna do it's kind of
I can wear it as a bracelet.
Alright guys.
It's okay.
If you can hear me again, put your hand on your ear. Your right ear. Thank you. Okay. So you see we have a circle. We're gonna pretend this is a bigger circle. Okay. So we have our food chain now. So who do you think? Now pick the one, put the group as a group, pick one that you think is the most important to the food chain. But pick the one you think is the most, okay? Does everyone have it? Everyone have it? Rip it.
Rip it.
Yes, rip it. Go for it. Go for it. And you see that broke our, you can rip it. So it broke our food chain. So we need to make sure, without one of these things, our environment would not work as well together. So we need to make sure that we keep leaving everything alone so we can keep our food chain together.
So, to make a commitment to leaving our animals alone, I need everyone to stand up. So we're all going to link arms and stand in a circle. Alright. So we're going to say a little riddle. I'm going to say the first line. You repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
Alright. As we stand here linked together.
As we stand here linked together.
We make a promise.
We make a promise.
To protect our animals forever.
To protect our animals forever.
Great job, everybody.
Great
Woo, wow, that was great. That's great.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff.